Welcome to Check That Book, a place where we get familiar with the most disturbing books ever written, arguably, and sometimes take a look at disturbing fairy tale origins and movie adaptations, all of that fun stuff. I mean, the root is the uncanny, disturbing, um, provocative. Well, you can read it all in my channel description, really. I I figured before we get to the live stream, which I mean, I have to. I want to try it myself. Honestly, I've never done this shit before, and I'm not even that certain that many people need this. But taking into account that we've reached 200 plus subscribers, well, and I made a promise quite a while ago. Besides, I kind of want to try that out. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure shit out and the software, bouncing between softwares and trying to figure out the best way to do this, and maybe just so that I will feel a bit more comfortable. Maybe I'll play a game, and whilst playing, we can chit chat, that stuff. Today there's no intro, no nothing, just me sitting down. And yeah, I have prepared some of my answers beforehand, but okay. First things first, this video is much like the booktube embarrassment tag that I've done prior, but this one is the I know, I'm quite late with this. This is the reader's profile tag. Um, Thanks, Andy, for tagging. I'll tag you back. Sort of. The link to Andy's channel will be in the description. Mm. Without further ado, while we talk, while I vent mostly about literature and everything that's been happening on this channel in recent weeks, let's get at it. The first question immediately, yes, out of the way. What makes a good book for you, that is? Well, in this case for me, yes, what for you makes a good book? This is actually the toughest question out of the 10 questions that I went through, and I Jesus. Well, first things first. I think you get it if you're a reader like myself, or even a reader writer, that you read. In order to answer that question, you have to understand why do you read at all? Why do you like or do you not like reading? For me, it is. It started in early childhood because this is so bizarre that we adult people in the 21st century, the year is 2025, have to sit down on the internet and openly and honestly and completely seriously discuss why is reading a good thing. Wow. I read because I like to imagine stuff. My imagination works damn fine, and that's why I like to train it. I like to visualize stuff in my head. Half of the time, it's just like watching a movie in your own head and in your own heart. Your imagination takes you to places nobody else will ever come along with you. It's just your world, the world that you enter, albeit you're not the author of the book, right? But whilst you're reading it, you create this world. To me, a good book is when, first of all, it does not have to be super descriptive. It kind of takes away the charm. I myself, in my own writings, unless it's poetry, try to not be extra descriptive, because in our heads, in each person's head, in each person's imagination, we paint our own picture, we film our own movie based on the script that's been handed to us. So why bother? Which is why I yeah, I've already expressed my disdain towards Leo Tolstoy. So yeah, in the BookTube embarrassment tag video, which I'll also link in the description. Shit, I'm gonna have to link a lot of stuff, but that's okay. A good book it can be long. It can be long, but a good book is not super descriptive to me. Leave something for the imagination. Let my imagination work for me. Okay, you describe a flower in your writing. Okay, cool, I get it. It has 11 petals, it is crimson red, and it's growing crooked to the left side. My left or your left? I get it. You do not have to lay it on thick for 10 plus pages. That's what I don't like, and that's, in my opinion, not a good book. When you get tens of pages that describe one scene. And it's not just Tolstoy, there's quite a fair share of authors who do this crap. And I understand. I understand that they're well admired and that they have an excellent turn of phrase. But when it gets so lengthy, I tend to lose interest. And I am quite a patient person, at least I think myself to be. So to me, a good book is at least not extra descriptive. Everything else, I'm fine with. It Yeah, it depends on the reader, really. And again, I mean, if the author is really lazy, um, I'm yet to encounter such writings. To be fair, I don't know. I never encountered a book when I went, sheesh, this is complete trash or garbage. Because maybe I just know my genre, I know what interests me, and I just stay clear of titles and books that, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they will not interest me, and that would be a waste of time for me personally. I hope I answered this first question. This is such, again, a lot of wee roots can sprout from this heck of a question. So to me, a good book is pretty much any book, if it's not extra descriptive. You might ask, well, Ro, we have a problem. You talk about disturbing books on this channel, and they are, half the time, very descriptive. Well, see, that's where, I mean, I stray a bit away from it. I was talking about mundane things that are boring. If you describe, like I said, you describe a flower in 10 pages, that gets kind of boring. But when we have interesting situations that involves psychology, that involves anatomy and things happening, even if they're gory, even if sometimes it's hard to stomach, like it was for me with Grandpappy, even then, it's still, yeah, I know. If we conclude, that's basically just me saying that Grandpappy is better than War and Peace. Jesus, I didn't mean to say that. No, it's not. Definitely not. There's no real thought behind Grandpappy, and this is not the video to, this is not the video for that. I am planning to discuss this during the live stream, hopefully, because, what is disturbing literature in its core? Why do we read it? Etc. Well, that was fun. Uh, I'm pretty sure that we're going to talk about this much, much more. And not just during the live stream, but further down the road, if you're with me. You guys, what am I currently reading? That's the second one. And, oh yeah, maybe you've noticed in one of my videos, I had this in the background. I am currently reading Tomie. Well, I am an admirer of Junji Ito. Anyways, yes, I'm currently reading Tomie. I've read this one before, but not in its entirety. I only read like 3 or 4 stories from this set piece, and it was a long time ago in a library. And now I got me hands on the full edition. I'm very pleased with this. Junji Ito is a master of page-turn screamer. And yeah, this is just so good. I'm halfway through the book, and don't you worry, I'll make a video about Tomie once I am done with it. What's the last book you didn't finish and why? I already mentioned this one actually, but I did not finish War and Peace. And I'm not going to talk about it anymore because I think my rant about this particular piece and Tolstoy in the previous booktube tag video was sufficient, I hope. And I don't want to go back to it because I don't want to disrespect the author or the people who admire the author or this piece, but I didn't finish it. There was a film, I think, but since I wasn't into the subject matter, and I'm still not really, I just chose the different direction, as you might have noticed. So no, I didn't finish War and Peace, and I'm kind of ashamed, kind of embarrassed, but at the same time, I don't really care because I've read books that a lot of people might be ashamed not to have read themselves. Many people still say that, well, Master and Margarita, or even the Holy Bible, it's nice to put those two together in the same sentence. People haven't read those and they consider them to be serious pieces of reading, and I read both and I have opinions on both. So it's very subjective, to each their own. To me, I read Dostoevsky's Idiot. If you want my opinion on it, you can ask questions. Maybe we'll talk about it on the live stream, but this is a piece of some serious ass classical literature, and I have things to say about it. But I read it and I finished it. War and Peace I didn't. Why? Well, I've talked about this in BookTube embarrassment tag video, so make sure to check it out if you haven't already. What obscure book do you wish other people could read? Master and Margarita really is the first thing that comes to mind. I haven't really prepared an answer for this question, but why is it so important? I have a video on it, 2 videos actually, about the Master and Margarita. I highly believe that this book is misunderstood. Many people think it's just the genre issue, right? It's kind of mystical, right? There's shit happening, plus it's biblical, and those who are religious don't want to read it because it's supposedly blasphemous, right? Well, then half of the things written by humans are supposed to be blasphemous. I don't know, honestly, no disrespect intended. It's just such a misunderstood piece of work, and it's comprised of actually several genres. And I think, again, in the previous 2 videos, I've talked about this, I described it, and tried my best to explain that even if you're not a fan of religious reading, or you're not a fan of mysticism or occults, or even Soviet / post-Soviet vibes, it's even if you're not any of these, you will still be so provoked by this piece of writing once you get past the metaphors. There's a lot of those. There's a lot of symbolism. It's just, again, this is so overlooked and dismissed, dare I say, as just this, wannabe piece of work that's comprised of several topics and subjects that don't seem to connect well. But surprisingly, they do. And that's what makes The Master and Margarita. It is an obscure piece of work. It is darker. And I believe that people should give it a chance. They should give it more opportunities. And maybe it is wrong to force the the kids at schools to read it at such a young age. I remember I was pushed to choose between actually War and Peace and The Master and Margarita when I was 16. No, you don't make kids at such a young age read this stuff unless this is a special boarding school, or unless they are studying in college already and they're studying this particular direction. I believe it's a bit early for this heavy sort of literature, a bit too early, I believe. And I think developmental psychology would agree with me on this one. There are slightly lighter works that can um, pave the way for a young adult. And I'm not talking about Harry Potter or any of that stuff. No, there's quite a lot of classical works that are slightly lighter and more easier for a young mind to digest, and thusly be prepared for something deeper. And yeah, that's where I agree with the majority who claim that they didn't like this sort of hefty reading because they were forced to go through this at school. I get it, um, but yeah, it's sad because later in life, some people won't even give such books a chance because in their young age they were so appalled because they were basically forced to go through this, specifically if they were forced to do some tests on the book, or even go undergo an exam. If there were literature exams where I come from, we had these things. So yeah, The Master and Margarita is an obscure book that is overlooked and dismissed, I believe, albeit in recent years it's kind of you know, peaking at. I believe it gets a bit more attention, the attention it deserves. So it's such a loud title, right? But you will be surprised how many people actually, even if they give it a chance, they just drop the book and never finish it. What is the longest book you've ever read? Historical novels are not, I mean, I like them, but they wouldn't usually be my first choice when I want something new, right? But sometimes I give them a chance because I'm interested in certain moments in history and subjects, and I understand it's fiction. Don't get me wrong. Les Miserables, or The Wretched as we call them here, it, yeah, that was, I think it's the longest piece of writing I ever read, I think. How many pages is The Master and Margarita? Well, I'm looking at it now on my shelf, and no, Les Miserables was thicker than that. It was a thousand something pages. I can't tell. Definitely a great deal over 1,000. But yes, the questions of what is fair, what is not fair, uh, this aggravation, the anger. I mean, it's such a bitter piece of work. I could talk about it longer, I think, but then this video would be would be an hour or something long. So if you're interested in Les Miserables, let me know. I remember when I took my literature exam at the age of 17, I got the task of explaining the standpoint of the character Quasimodo. That's where I passed it. I got my A, but it was such a bizarre experience. Yes, I read, and Victor Hugo is not a stranger to me, which is why I gave Les Miserables a chance. And yes, the subject matter is very much understandable and relatable and actual to this fucking day. 19th century, you guys. Today is 21st, and nothing much has changed, to be honest. The wrapper has changed, but the contents, I don't know. Read my book, Misanthropically Inclined. I speak about it there as well. If you could have a dinner party with 5 fictional characters, who would they be? Oh shit. Do you mean like at the same time in one room? Maybe because separately, this would have worked quite well. But Yeah, I'm still going to name them. Makes it all the more fun to imagine all these characters together. Well, the first is going to be kind of a couple, not in a romantic sense, but in the sense of friendship. Best portrayed friendship in literature to me. I'm talking about Holmes and Watson. I would love to invite the both of them. Hannibal Lecter. I am so curious. I'm so curious I cannot help it. If you've seen my video on Hannibal the Cannibal series, you understand where this passion comes from. I've always wanted again to bring this character to life. I would love to have some quid pro quo conversations with this dude. With all due respect, because something tells me I know how to talk to people like that. Maybe I would be proven wrong quite harshly and I'd die. But I'm willing to give this one a chance. So yes, Dr. Hannibal Lecter would be my third guest. My fourth guest would be Severus Snape from the Harry Potter franchise. Yes, I can't help it. He was actually the first character I thought of, but I kind of brushed it away because this is not serious. This is very much so. Sometimes we need some good, good old fashioned young adult fantasy writing, and Harry Potter is just that. Severus Snape is one of my favorite characters in the franchise, and he, in my opinion, would be the most intriguing and interesting one to talk to. But this is going to be a very dark tea party. And my last but not least guest would be Sayuri from Memoirs of a Geisha. Again, the book I talked about before on this channel in my booktube embarrassment tag video. I mentioned this, I'll say it again. I feel a very strong connection to this particular character. This connection where I understand her actions and emotions because I've been in a similar situation mentally. And I think it is exceptionally overwhelming and interesting, and maybe I think it's important if you have a chance to meet up with someone with whom you share this core, dare I say, of an emotional struggle. I think she would understand me very well, and I would understand her. Plus, she could, lead our dinner party with some Japanese tea ceremony and shit. We would be the only two females there, but I think we would handle this stuff. Dr. Lecter can cook, Sayuri will serve the tea, and I'll just sit down with the boys. One book you could not put down. In my adult years, it's basically anything by Junji Ito. Yeah, I'm currently reading Tomie, and honestly, whatever I'll be reading next, I'll probably grab something by Ito to have on my desk or on my sofa so that when I need to relax and take my mind off things, I'll be looking at those images, I'll be going through those stories. I like that. But when I was a kid, I could not put down the Chronicles of Narnia. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I mean, that one in particular. It's such a mesmerizing story. Again, kind of a young adult and also fantasy fiction, right? And also religious undertones. How do these mix and combine with each other? Very well. Trust me on this one. And I also couldn't do without The Wizard of Oz when I was a kid. So that was a fascinating story, and it still is. It's just that, when you grow older, your interests change. And it's funny how the dark and bizarre works of Ito are now my source of relief and comfort, even maybe to a degree. 5 books or authors you will never read. Well, I'm just gonna say this once, and it's gonna be the say this once. It's gonna be the last time I'll say that name. Anything by Tolstoy. Fuck that guy. No disrespect, I was kidding, but not my vibe, not my vibe. Not my piece of cake, not my cup of tea. So anything by him. I'm not gonna name specific books because I honestly don't know. And like I said, I stay clear of the genres I am not interested in. So maybe it's prudent for me to just name those genres. And that genre is actually, I'm okay with reading pretty much anything, including autobiographies, including disturbing shit, historical novels. They're not my favorite, but sometimes I'm genuinely curious. Anything. Sometimes even romance novels. Sometimes, I mean, when I'm really out of it. But no, there's no shame in reading anything. I mean, I'm currently stuck with Junji Ito here, and it's a comic book, right? So, but there's one genre I always stay clear of, and that is sci-fi. Not my thing. I just don't like it. I haven't. No, I have tried. I just don't remember what it was. And it's not just in books, it was with cinema as well. I'm never interested in that. Anything that has to do with science fiction, anything that has to do with space, cosmos, that stuff. But there's an exception, and that's H.P. Lovecraft. I would argue this is cosmic horror, yes, but not cosmic as in, sci-fi cosmos and, that shit. No. This is different. If you would like to know the difference between cosmic horror and your average sci-fi writing, then I suggest you look into it. I'm not gonna be here lecturing you. You're adult people. You know what the difference is. Lovecraft is another story. Curious, but I wouldn't reread him. That's what I'm trying to say. But that's funny because it's been noted by specialists that the same Junji Ito's works are inspired by Lovecraft. But not, I dare to argue, not specifically Lovecraft, but by the cosmic horror. Because we're afraid of what we don't understand, what we don't know. And, a lot of people tend to choose space for that. I would rather choose the ocean or, the dark or something obscure lurking under your bed or in your closet or something that happens when you sleep, something you're not aware of, something you cannot control. To me, that is horror. That is scary. But that sci-fi shit I talked about earlier, no disrespect for all of you science fiction lovers, but just not my thing. And I would never read anything that has sci-fi label on it. Neither would I watch a movie that is described as science fiction. And yes, while we're at it, I would never read, for sure, anything that's written by a politician. Any politician. Of any country, of any party, I don't give a shit. Yes, I think this is a moment where I should establish this and never speak of it again because I'm honestly not interested. I have no respect for those people. I'm not an anarchist. I mean, I kind of thought I was when I was younger, but no, I have no respect for those people. I'm not interested in their lives, much like they're not interested in mine. Those people are in no position to lecture us, folks, on how to live our lives. They're in no position to lecture us on anything, actually. They don't know shit. They don't live the lives of an average of average people. 5 books you'd want if stranded on a deserted island. Oh crap. Definitely I would want my Holmes set. I think I've shown it to you guys before. It's like this huge ass book with the entirety of collections by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I'd want that. I'd also want actually, the set of Harry Potter books would be nice, and that is way more than 5 already. I think I would want Bram Stoker's Dracula with me because it's such a beautiful piece of writing. I mean, I love the epistolary format, where the letters are being exchanged. That is beautiful. That is actually a romantic writing. That's romantic writing to me, and I think I would want that. You mean like if I would never ever get a chance to read another book again? Also, Deserted Island, Desert Island. I mean, I wouldn't have time to read. I would die. Would I want Robinson Crusoe there? I don't know. I don't remember it being very educative. So would it help me? I don't know. Maybe I would want some survivor's guide or a handbook of, how to filter water, how to find water, how to build a hammock or build a weapon, or what plants are safe to eat. The dictionary of the plants that are safe to eat. That's a book I would want. If you were to write a book, what would it be about? Well, I already actually did, and it is a poetry collection. I'm going to repeat myself now. Make sure to check out the links in the description for Misanthropically Inclined. Also, currently I'm working on a novel that will be slightly disturbing, but mainly it's an action romance, so I hope it works out well. I'm not going to reveal much because I'm actually in the process of writing a book. So yeah, and as for my first one, you can check it out for yourself. Plus, I talk about it in one of my videos. So let's wrap this up for now. It's getting dark. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like disturbing content, consider giving this video a boost in the form of an erect thumb, and make sure to subscribe for more. I'll see you all as soon as possible. Thank you so much for being here. We hit 200. I'm ecstatic. Let's go. Cheers.